The views and opinions expressed by tonight's guest and topic of discussion do not necessarily represent the official policy or position of Spaced Out Radio, Spaced Out Saturdays or Sundays, SOR Media, its hosts, syndicated carriers, or anyone associated with this broadcast. Any rebroadcast, reproduction, or other use of this broadcast or podcast without the express written consent of SOR Media is strictly prohibited. Listener discretion is advised. The views and opinions expressed by tonight's guest and topic of discussion do not necessarily represent the official policy or position of Spaced Out Radio, Spaced Out Saturdays or Sundays, SOR Media, its hosts, syndicated carriers, or anyone associated. The opinions expressed by tonight's guest do not represent the opinions or position of Spaced Out Radio, syndicated carriers, or anyone associated with SOR Media. Listener discretion is advised. Here at Spaced Out Radio, we are about to take you higher. Broadcasting from the Rocky Mountains of Colorado to you listening around the world. This is Spaced Out Sunday with host Tessa Nicole Thomas. You can follow Tessa on our Facebook page at Spaced Out Radio, on Twitter at TessaTNT, and you can subscribe to her YouTube channel. Go to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio for the archive. But we break on command 'cause women rule the world. Buckle up, space travelers. Let the countdown begin.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's time to go for a ride with host Tessa Nicole Thomas.
I'm such a lucky guy, 'cause after all this time, it's like the deeper I go, the deeper I fall.
Good evening, Spaced Out Radio. Secure your tinfoil hats, buckle down tight, and hold on loosely as we soar over the rocky tops of the La Platas on a rocky mountain high, get sucked into the vortex of the Four Corners, and settle down snugly at mile marker 419.9 in colorful Colorado. It is Sunday, July 8th, Monday, July 9th, for those of you on the East Coast and beyond. This is Spaced Out Radio. I hope you guys had a rockin' week, an awesome day, and an even better evening. I am your host, Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I am live tonight broadcasting from beautiful Bayfield, Colorado. We are 150,000 strong nightly on Spaced Out Radio Network, spacedoutradio.com, Spreaker, Paranormal Radio, TalkStream Live, as well as Deep Talk Radio, which you can find at deeptalkradio.com. Don't forget to head to our website, spacedoutradio.com, where you can peruse the Spaced Out store and read the encounter online dealing with everything strange, paranormal, and odd. Tonight I have a treat for all you guys and gals out there. Tonight we will be talking to and getting to know Corrine de Winter. Corrine de Winter is an author and a lifelong seeker of the supernatural. For her first Ouija board session with her mother at 13 years old, the recent graduation from mediumship classes at the Cara Center, she strives to find the truth in the midst of life's illusions and to help others on their journeys. You can find her books and artwork at www.corinedewinter.com. She is a naturalist, a philanthropist, a medical physical seeker, artist, and the founder of Small World Fund for Children. Hey Corrine, welcome to the show tonight.
Hi, Tessa. Thank you so much for inviting me to be on.
It's so great to have you.
Thank you.
Do you happen to have a pair of headphones so I don't feed back over there? I'm sorry.
You know, for some reason, if I put the headphones on, you won't hear my voice, and I'm not sure what the hell is wrong with it.
Oh, that's weird. Well, go ahead and tell our guests a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I basically have been into the paranormal and the supernatural for many, many years. And I used to hang out with the Warrens, Ed and Lorraine Warren, when I was much younger. And I learned a lot from them. But then I really learned so much on my own by just investigating and reading up on so much. And I am an author, so I have written articles for a lot of magazines on new subjects. And I'm also a poet and an artist. And now I've added psychic medium to that list. That's about all I can say.
Yeah, and that is so awesome. Well, when I was looking you up on the internet and doing some more studying about you, I saw that you had written a few books, and a few that were kind of at the top of my list were The Sensitive Soul's Guide to Waking Up, Valentine's for the Dead, and The Woman at the Funeral. What are some of your other publications?
Well, I wrote a book about, and I'm mentioning Kurt Cobain for a reason. I wrote a book of poetry in memory of Kurt Cobain when he died, and I was able to sell a lot of that book through my father's business, because my father was in the music business, and he's one of the people I want to talk to you about. I had a very interesting conversation with my medium, and it involved Kurt Cobain, and as well as some other rock stars. So I look forward to telling you that story, even though I have to say, Tessa, I'm disappointed that a lot of people think I'm crazy and that they don't believe me when I tell them what happened. But you tell me if you believe it. I mean, I don't see here's the thing, Tessa. Why don't people believe we can talk to the dead? I mean, there's no question that we live on. Why wouldn't a good medium be able to contact whoever is on the other side? Do you agree with that?
Well, yeah, if they're ready and willing to communicate, I don't see why they wouldn't want to.
Mm-hmm.
And
right.
I don't think you're crazy.
Thank you. And here's the thing, is like, So when I tell people and they're like, they kind of give me that sideways look like, okay, that's nice, and they smile politely. And it's like, man, people aren't ready, I think, in their minds to be for incredible things. They're not ready for it, and they're not ready to accept it. And I'm like, what are you waiting for? And I don't know. It makes me kind of uptight when I think about people disbelieving this stuff. And I know I shouldn't get upset about it, but it kind of does. It makes me feel like, wow, do they think I'm stupid that I'm just going to believe any medium that tells me that I talked to Kurt Cobain or something? You know what I mean? It's like I studied a psychic for years and years, and only through all of these trial runs with the bad psychics have I found phenomenal ones that I'm so happy to have met and made friends with,
Yeah, for sure. And I've seen where other people have tried to communicate with different people. For example, Robin Williams, and everybody was getting so uptight and butthurt about it, and talking about how disrespectful it was and everything. And I just don't see it. Everybody wants to be heard. Nobody wants to be forgotten. And if you have a message to get across, and there's somebody there that can help you with that prospect, I don't see a fault in that.
Me neither. But like I said, people are, they don't, I guess how I would put it is that they don't seem to have faith. And I'm not even talking about faith in Jesus or God, but faith in anything that they weren't taught from a young age. And there's an incredible world out there, and it's like, let's open our minds and accept that these things they're in our realm. And, it's amazing what's out there that most people turn their backs on,
Yeah, and it's really not that hard to open your mind. You just gotta quit being stubborn. But, sometimes people just want to see what they want to see, and they don't want to know anymore. And they get kind of offended when you try to share that with them. But it's okay. More for us.
Right, I know, that's true. I want them to have the same, because I think I've probably told you this before, but when my mom and dad died, I needed to know that they were in fact still alive. Like I needed proof of that. And I was given that proof, and more than anything, more than a psychiatrist or a therapist, that allowed me to heal so much. And I wish that for everyone that is having a hard time losing a loved one. And that's why I think it makes me kind of sad too, because accept that and see and talk to a good medium. I mean, you will get so many rewards out of it and so much healing from it,
And it does really help, but I think some people have trust issues because there are a lot of people out there that are trying to take advantage and not really in it for, the other person. They're in it for themselves. So it's hard to find the good ones, which we got one here.
Thank you. I mean, I'm not halfway as good as these girls that I talk to, but certainly, you don't even have to take my word for it. If you made an appointment with one of these women, you could see for yourself that they are the real deal. And you're right, Tessa, there are umpteen bad readers out there. I mean, it's just, it's incredible to me how many bad readers are out there making money,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. But, it eventually comes back to them.
Yeah, I think so too.
So do you think a way that it might come back to them is like a loss in their gifts or whatnot?
Yes, actually, people speak about Sylvia Brown. And do you remember Sylvia Brown?
Yes, that's who always comes to mind when I think of that subject. She used to be really, really good, and then not so much.
She was. Do you know that at the end of her life she had a 90% unsuccessful reading rate? She was 90% wrong at the end of her life.
Yeah, holy shnikes.
I know. And so here's the thing. She really exploited herself, which is okay. I mean, really, you know. But I mean, I do think that, and I've spoken to many readers that say that once they get their ego out of joint, that they lose their abilities. Because you can't, and I don't want to, I feel like I'm quoting someone when I say this, you can't serve, you know, spirit and yourself at the same time. It's really, it's hard for me to put into words, but I think that once your ego gets blown out of proportion and you're like all about the money, she was charging like $600 or $700 a reading at that point. And when you get to that, I mean, you're really not doing anyone a favor anymore. You're not helping, you're not really helping anyone heal, and you're kind of all about the money at that point. And I think you do lose your gift. And I think she did lose her gift, you know?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. She did, because like I said, when she first came out, she was really good and so on, and then it was just gone. But yeah, there's a psychic here in our town, and I had actually approached her to be on the show, and then I had heard a couple things from people, and she's going through a lot. She lost her brother in a motorcycle accident, and I feel really bad for her. She's trying to take care of the wife because she was on the back of the bike and almost didn't make it, but she charged this lady that we ended up helping for free. She charged her like $500 for these stones and some other stuff, and she's like, I didn't even pick most of this stuff, you know, I just picked these stones, that's what I wanted, and then they just threw the rest of this in and said, here, this is how much it is. And I was like, holy crud, $500, like I couldn't afford that.
No, that's way too much.
Yeah, and it made me you know, second think about having her on, because I like for my guests to be good and resourceful and have a good heart and nature, you know.
Totally. And you know, I have my own show, Supernatural Radio, on Blog Talk. And you know, there was a time when I had all kinds of readers on, but then I said to myself, I'm never going to have a bad psychic on again. I just can't do it, you know.
Yeah, and Trip was asking in the chat room, how did you, or where did you find the 90% rate on Sylvia?
If you look up the last, you know what, I can't remember, but it was, I'm trying to think of where I read that. It was in some article. I mean, if you look for it, you'll find it. I can't remember exactly where I saw that, but it was, you know, that she was not doing, you know, look how many things she got wrong, like really important things about those kids that she said were dead, and they weren't dead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like she really wasn't, and I know you think she was good to begin with, but in retrospect, now that I know these other people, she really was kind of lousy. She just was cocky, and people would believe that she was good because she was so cocky that you'd be like, oh, she knows what she's talking about. But she really, you know, when I look back on it, I'm not impressed by her work, you know?
Yeah, so, but back in the day, it seemed pretty good to us, you know, watching it at a Hollywood perspective or whatnot. But yeah, knowing those personal stories, it gives you a different perspective.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to crack on Sylvia Browne because a lot of people love her, and I understand that. But she was a grifter from the get-go. I mean, I'm not saying she was a grifter at the end of her life because she had a lot of money, but she was arrested for grand larceny and a lot of other bad things that she did before she got into psychic reading. And, I mean, that's fine, you know, if you still love Sylvia. I mean, she served her purpose. She definitely got the word out there about psychic mediums. But now that I know better, I kind of, like I said, I kind of dismiss her as one of the great readers, because to me she really wasn't, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I was going to say, what an honor not to only be nominated 5 times, but actually win the Bram Stoker Award. Congratulations on that. That's epic.
Thank you. That was wicked exciting. When I, at that conference, when I won that, I didn't think I was going to win at all, so I had nothing prepared to read. And Clive Barker was there, and Harlan Ellison was there. These are like big names in the horror field, you know. And Chuck Palahniuk was there, and I just made an ass out of myself. It was funny, but I was so thrilled about that, you know.
Yeah, that is awesome, and like a major accomplishment, you know, for a writer. That's just amazing. I mean, I don't know, and you know, to not expect it and be put on the spot like that in front of your peers, you know, people you really look up to. Oh my gosh, I feel kind of bad for you at that point.
So I get up on stage to accept it, and I said to the announcer, I said, I'm really honored to be, you know, to have won against the other, you know, competitors in my field. And I turned to the guy and I said, who were the other people? It was so funny.
I know, it's kind of like not real at that point, you know. Man, it's just trying to sink in, and that's pretty awesome. I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
So can you read us one of your writings, like one of your favorite ones, just to give the audience or the listeners a taste of what you write? Because I've read a lot of your things, and it's really quite beautiful.
Thank you. So I will read a poem to you in just a second, because I had a bunch of them sitting here and now I don't know what the hell I did with them. Yeah, I can read you a poem. But can you give me just a minute and talk about something else while I find it?
Yeah. Well, my next question was, what has been your favorite poem or book thus far that you've written?
I love Valentine's for the Dead because it's fiction, and I feel like some of the stories in Valentine's for the Dead were kind of channeled. Like, even when I read them now, I'm like, I don't even remember writing this, but it's awesome. Not to be cocky, but I mean, it's like this really good story, and it's like, I don't even know how I wrote that, and I don't remember writing most of it, so I feel like some of the work in there was channeled, and I love the stories in that. I love, and I don't mean to say I love my own work, but I do, you know.
Yeah, that's very important. I mean, a lot of people just can't because they have some sort of block, but for you to be able to embrace it and love it, you know, love what you do, and that's very important, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, if I didn't think that people would get something from my writing, I wouldn't even bother. But I feel like, you know, poetry gives you, when you read poetry anyways, it should, you know, make you almost more human. So a good poem, in my opinion, is one that is finished in the heart of the reader, not finished on the page that they read, but it sparks things in the reader's mind. So I think that's a good poem like that, you know what I mean? And of course there's a lot of poets out there, but you know, I always tend to go toward the older, you know, the poems of 1940s, the, you know, women poets of the 1920s and 30s and 40s, 50s. I mean, I love, most of the stuff I love are older poets, but I do like some living poets now, too. But I'm all about dead people, you know? I can't help it.
So, do you have any idea who you may have channeled while writing?
No. That's a good question. I never really thought about it. I know that I was told that I have a spirit guide named Joel, who was a writer, and I'm wondering if perhaps he said he would help me in the future with writing, and I wonder if that had something to do with it. I'm not sure though. That's an interesting question.
Yeah, it'd be nice to know who your accomplice was.
Yeah, I know, right? Right.
But sometimes it does. It just comes out of nowhere. And I used to write and do art all the time back in the day. But one of the last poems I wrote, I remember I was trying to go to bed, and this line just kept going through my head. And there was no way I was going to sleep until I got up out of bed and put it on paper, and it just flowed out like every single word. And then I was like, good, now I can go to bed. And I did. I slept really good that night. But I mean, that was probably 13 or 14 years ago. But yeah, sometimes it does. It just comes upon you, and you have to write it, and it just seems to come out of nowhere. But
can I ask you, Tessa, why you don't write and paint anymore?
I don't know. I kind of attribute it, like, if I think back to when I was very artistic and wrote poems all the time, I think the thing that broke that was being in an abusive relationship. And being in that relationship is basically why I joined the military, which I swore I would never do. But I did, just to get out of there, because you know how they take you away from your friends and your family, and you feel like you don't have anybody. And so I was sitting there, depressed on the couch one day, and I see this commercial for the Marines, and I'm like, holy shnikes, that's my ticket out. So I did that. But yeah, it's kind of like, maybe, I don't know, there's some sort of block there. And the last poem I wrote, which was probably about 3 or 4 years after that, was called Man's Worth, and it was pretty deep. But yeah, I want to break that cycle and start doing more things, but with 4 kids in the house, it's kind of hard to find the time anymore. But yeah, it is something that I really loved, and I was in the Art Honor Society, and I had poems published and everything. But yeah, some things just get broken, and I just haven't had time to really work on or fix that at this point.
Right. Well, I mean, I think it's important, right? It's like that's kind of, I consider our creative work our soul work, in other words. So, I mean, I hope that you do get back into that, because you're meant to do that.
Yeah, I know it's a gift from my mom, and, even my kids are artistically inclined. Even my youngest, at the age of 1, was already coloring inside the lines, and they're all artistically touched, and I know it's a gift, and I know it's wrong for me not to work and build on that, but there's a time and a place for everything, and I just haven't found that time yet. But I know it'll come back someday.
Yeah.
I'll get it.
I hope you do. I mean, I think you probably created some incredible stuff too,
Yeah. So, if you haven't found that poem yet, what I was going to ask you next was, what inspired you to start the Small World Fund? Which is an awesome endeavor.
Thank you, and I'm very proud of it. So when I was 15 years old, I sponsored my first child, and through Save the Children, and I always wanted to do more for kids that didn't have anything. So about, I don't know, I'd say, like, I kept sponsoring a child for years and years, and then I decided to just start my own fund and help children in my area, children and women that didn't have much, and to help them every holiday when they didn't have food or presents to give at Christmas time, or lots of other things, clothing and stuff like that. So I just started doing that, like, God, it's been a long time now, but I do that every year. So I always tell people, if you know someone that needs help around the holidays or just needs, money for food or whatever, please approach me, and you can go to the website. It's smallworldfund.org, O-R-G. So smallworldfund.org is where the website is, and I will help you as best as I can. I get a lot of people approaching me and saying that, they don't have money for their kids to buy them a gift or things like this. So I will send them gifts, and I will, if they need them wrapped, I'll wrap them for them. But I luckily, I always have enough to do this. So it thrills me to be able to do this and to help people that way. So I'm really happy that I can do this.
Yeah, it's an awesome project, and, what better way to help yourself than to help someone else? I really do believe that it really does heal and nurture us to do good works for others, and, families on the holidays. That's a really hard and depressing time for a lot of people, and for you to do that, that's really very cool and inspiring, and I give you kudos for that.
Thank you. And when I get cards from the families, because a lot of times I'll do it anonymously, not the people that approach me directly, but I go through these charities here locally, and I'll do it, and I don't know who they are. I never get to see them open the presents. I never get to know who they are, but sometimes they'll write me a card and they'll say, you don't know what you did for me, for our family, and then I hear back from the social workers that brought the presents to the families, and she tells me, the reactions, and she goes, I don't know how you knew that these people, that this one girl wanted a journal and she wanted this, and it's like, I just guess at what they want, but it always seems to fit, like I'm giving them things that they really want, It's weird, but I love that. I love it.
Yeah, it's kind of like a gut instinct, or I'm not sure if it's, what is it when you touch something or you get a name or whatever? Is it like clairvoyance, or I can't remember the word for touching something and getting a reading off of it? Like, what would this child like? And you just kind of get that message, and it is very awesome when it is correct and right on,
Yeah, that's psychometry.
Okay, yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah, and so hopefully I'll always be able to do that. I'll be very upset because, sometimes I've had bad years, Tessa, as we all do.
Yeah.
Right? And I remember my friend saying to me, you can't do the gift this year. And I'm like, because, I didn't have a lot of money. And I said, no, I'm going to do more gifts this year. You know what I mean? And I was able to do it. So I feel like, I'm not one of those people that feel like good things happen to good people or bad things happen to bad people, because we know that that's not true most of the time. But I feel like there is some divine intervention here that allows me to keep doing this. And I just, like I said, that's one of the things in my life that make me really happy. And I always, like, a woman asked me the other day, Tessa, she said, how do I know what my life purpose is? I'm really tired of not knowing my life purpose. Now, I said, wow, it's like, so, like, I guess I take it for granted that I always knew my life purpose. It is helping other people. That's one of my life purposes. So she was so upset that she couldn't figure out. And I said, well, what makes you happiest? When are you at your most joyful? She goes, well, I don't know. I mean, I guess that, sometimes I'm happy and sometimes I'm not. I don't know that anything. But I mean, so if I was to ask you that question, Tessa, what do you think you have a life purpose or purposes, and what do you think yours are?
I've always been a people pleaser, so helping people, and at a very young age I learned to do things for my neighbors. I had several elderly folks that lived in the neighborhood, so I'd go and help them with their yard work or their housework or whatever. And as I got older, it was giving single moms and their kids rides to the store or appointments or wherever they needed to go. So I've always wanted to help people and, show them about open-mindedness and all the stuff that is actually out there, because, the world is a very negative place. It's very beautiful, but there's a lot of negative aspects about it. And, just trying to help them see the different perspective. There is a lot of beautiful things, and, there is a reason that you're here, because a lot of people, like you said, they don't see their purpose and what's the point in life. But we do always have that purpose, and I think it does manifest itself to you many times. It just kind of takes you a little bit to absorb it sometimes. But I mean, people coming to you all the time for help. There's other times they come to you as well, but, and it's hard to reach out, but when they finally do, I'm glad to be a helping hand to have whoever I can. But yeah, these days it's with the teenagers and the suicide rate is so high. I started Bayfield Rocks, and that gives them an opportunity to get their artwork out on rocks or positive notes to other people, and then we go and stash them different places, and we try to spread the joy, make somebody smile, put it in a place, somebody goes to ponder or whatever, and they see this rock and pick it up, and it's got a positive note on it. It not only helps us, it helps them.
That is so cool.
Yeah, I like it, and it seemed like a way for me to open up that artistic aspect as well. I'll be helping the kids, but I'll be putting my little stints in there as well. So.
That's so cool. I love that. Now, so I don't have any of my books handy here, so at the break I'll grab a book and I'll read some from one of my books. I don't know where those poems went to.
Oh, no worries. Well, I was going to ask you about another one of your projects, which is the Purple Plates project. And my question on that is, what exactly is a purple plate, and do you think everyone should own one?
Definitely everyone should own one. So the purple plates are based on Nikola Tesla's theory of free energy. So in theory, free energy, it exists in the world in certain places like Palermo, Italy, and also the Himalayan mountains. It exists naturally in some places, but what the plates do is focus that positive energy, and it's really negative ions, which we need. I mean, so you get negative ions before, after it rains or before it rains, there's a lot of negative ions in the air. So it's the plates balance what's out of balance in one's body, although I can't make medical claims, of course. But it has helped people tremendously. And I've been doing, it's my 21st year this month, actually, of having this business. So, and people are like, what, are you kidding me? You make a living selling purple plates? And I'm like, yeah, I know, because no one believes it. They're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
But I do, and I do because they work. And I always tell people, you got nothing to gamble. If you buy one and you're not happy with it, send it back to me. I'll give you your money back, no questions asked. And in all these years, in 21 years, I swear I'm telling you the truth when I tell you, I've had 4 returns in all that time. These plates work. They are a miracle. And I would suggest anybody get one and at least try it out. There's so many purposes for the plates. If you go to the website, purpleplates.com, you can read all the testimonials, what people have used them for, what they've had success with. And, of course, if you order, you get, brochures telling you what people have used them for and how you can use them and how you can experiment with them for different purposes. But they're just wonderful. I got to send you one, Tessa. I got to send you one.
Yeah, I got to meet Teresa, everybody in the chat room knows her as Go-Go. I got to meet her at a UFO conference in California, and she actually brought one with her, and she's like, check this out, and it was super cool. And yeah, I've been meaning to get on there and get my own. Things have just been super crazy lately, but that would be awesome if you sent me one. I would love it and carry it everywhere with me.
Oh, yes, I will send you one. I mean, people that have, like, I know this one guy that has been wearing one of the bracelets for 5 years straight, and he swears if he takes it off, he feels so at a loss for like being happy and positive. And I mean, here's the thing. After you've used the purple plates for a long time, your vibration does change permanently. So I've been using them for at least 21 years. So I think, I'm not saying I'm all like Miss Peppy and Mary Poppins, but
Yeah.
but I do feel like it has changed my life, and I don't know if I told you this, but I was diagnosed with MS in 2004. Yeah. And I have MS, and the doctor at the time said to me, you got to start taking this shot. And the shot made me sick for like 2.5 days, like it felt like the worst flu ever. So I was taking this shot every week, and I was so sick, and he said, well, I don't want to make you depressed or anything, but yet, you're probably going to be in a wheelchair within like a year, because the scars on my brain were really bad. And I said, okay. So I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, what the hell? So anyways, I started using the purple plates at about that time, and I stopped taking the shot. I went to a holistic doctor who has me on all natural medicines, and I've been using the purple plate, and thank God I'm okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
for sure.
I'm not saying that the plate did that, but I certainly think it has something to do with it,
Yeah, you can't prove it, but you can't really discount it.
Right. So can I tell you about that reading that I got?
Yeah.
Okay. So now this woman, she's going to be on my show actually on August 3rd, and we talked about this a while ago, me and her, doing dead rock stars, because I love dead rock stars, I like some living ones too, but they look dead,
Yeah.
So
I feel you.
I had been asking my father, who's on the other side, of course, I had been asking him a week prior to the reading to bring through this one dead rock star. And I just kept saying, Dad, bring this guy through for me when I talk to Myrna and whatever. So I get on the phone with her, and I said, who's around me? That's the first question I asked, who's around me? She goes, your mom's here with your grandmother, with her mom. And, I said, is my dad there? So she goes, Dad's not here. She goes, hold on. She goes, Dad. And this woman is incredible. So anyways, she goes, here he is. He's with someone. And she said, are you trying to bring through a musician? And I said, yes. And I go, yes. She goes, does his name begin with a B? I said, yes. She goes, Benjamin? I go, oh my God. My father came through for me, right?
Yeah.
So he's with this dead musician who I have a huge crush on. And I need a life, as you can tell. But anyway, so he comes through, and I'm like, oh my God, what do I ask this guy? What do I talk to this guy about, So I asked him some questions. Then she says, there's Kurt Cobain is here, and I don't know why he's here, except he's saying that your father went and got all these musicians to come and talk to you. Now, something she did not know is that my father's been in the music business forever, or was in the music business, okay? So my father knew the guy that I asked to bring through, Benjamin. He knew him because he was partly responsible for getting the Cars signed to the record label, because he used to work at the record label. And so anyways, that's not so unusual to me. So then Kurt shows up, and I'm like, man, what, I got to ask Kurt, did you kill yourself, or were you killed? Because I was under the impression firmly that Courtney Love had him killed.
I thought for sure it was her or someone else because of how everything was put away. Like, when you die from an overdose, you don't put your stuff away and then die. You just die,
Right, exactly. So I'm like, there's no way that he killed himself. I'm just convinced that he did not kill himself. So I said, can you ask him if he killed himself? She goes, he's saying he did. And I said, what?
Yeah.
I said, wait a minute. So you're telling me he's saying that Courtney had nothing to do with his death? And she's like, he's saying that he did it to himself. He didn't want to, he knew he couldn't get off the heroin. He didn't want to be around his daughter. He didn't want to be, because he knew he was always going to go back to the heroin. And I was like, oh my God. So then get this.
Oh, go ahead.
So then I said, okay. So then we continue with the reading. I left, I felt bad dismissing Kurt, but there was other people there, right? So then she says, there's this guy, John, that's been standing in the corner since we got on the phone, and I don't know who he is. She goes, do you know a John that died really strangely and, got shot? I go, no. So then,
John Lennon?
It was frickin' John Lennon, right? So I'm like, are you kidding? I go, is it John Lennon? She goes, oh my God, yes, right? So I said, what the hell? So John says, your father came and got all of us to come here, right? So I said, okay, while John's here, let me ask him about what he thinks about the present state of America. So John responds,
Yeah.
John says, well, you guys wanted capitalism and you guys were all about capitalism, and now you're getting what you asked for, but now you don't want it anymore. And I'm like, that's exactly something Lennon would say. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm like, oh my God. So I said to who else showed up? That was it. But I said, will they come back for our shows? Because I want to get her to talk to them. Now, this is a woman that can actually ask for someone to come through, and she can get them within a couple minutes. This is unheard of, okay? So I said, I've tested her out on people that I knew, okay? That there's no way she's going to go to Google, find out who, oh my God. Another rock star I asked for this time in the reading was Elliott Smith, okay? I don't know if you know who Elliott Smith was. He was a phenomenal musician, okay? He's got a lot of fans, and we all kind of thought that he didn't kill himself, that he was actually murdered. So I asked about Elliott Smith. Now, okay, so you tell me this. Within seconds, now she can't go to Google. I'm saying this because I have to defend myself because people think that she's full of shit. I'm sorry. So I said, so Elliott, she goes, he's saying he didn't kill himself. I go, oh my God, who does he say stabbed? She goes, he was stabbed, right? I go, yes. She goes, through the heart? I go, yes. I go, who does he say killed him? She says, Jen. Jen was the girl he lived with that was his girlfriend.
Oh,
so
wow.
I screamed. I was like, oh my God. And then I said, well, does he want us to do something about it? And she goes, no, he's saying he doesn't care anymore. It's pretty great over here, and it's not going to bring me back. And, he is also saying the hesitation wound, because I don't know what the hesitation wound is, but the hesitation wound is the key to everything. There was no hesitation wound. She stabbed him through the heart, and she got away with it. It's gruesome,
Well, and she'll have to answer for that, at the end of time. But, I've heard over there it's just love, and it is so great. And a lot of things aren't carried over there as far as anger or resentment. Some people do cling on to that stuff, but for the most part, they're just happy to be where they're at.
Right, and I think that the majority of their personality remains with them for a long time. Like my mother, when my mother comes through, she still cracks on me, and she's still herself. You know what I mean? And I mean, I know there's just no way that a reader could tell me. First of all, my mother's middle name, my mother's great-great-grandmother's name, that is nowhere. I didn't even know what the great-great-grandmother's name was. She told me, and then I had to ask somebody in the family that was very old. And so, I mean, this lady is incredible. So if you choose to believe her, good for you, and let's go on this fun ride with dead rock stars and see what really happens. If you don't, I don't know what to tell you. You know, it's sad. But to me, I was thrilled. I was absolutely thrilled. And I knew my dad would come through for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that is so awesome. You were saying how it's weird that, you know, you had a crush on this guy and he was dead, but my first rock and roll crush was a dead guy too, so don't feel so bad on that one.
I said to my roommate, I said, do you think I'm crazy? And he's like, I would never admit that I think you're crazy.
Huh. Might wake up with you standing over his bed or something.
Yeah, right. No kidding. So then I said to another friend, I go, well, do you think I'm nuts? And she's like, no, you're not going to the grave and digging it up or anything. And I go, no, I'm not doing that. But I mean, it's kind of, you know, but Tessa, really, you get to the point in your life and you're like, who cares what people think, really? I mean, I do care. And that's why it upsets me. But why should it bother me? It shouldn't bother me, you know?
Yeah, you care to a certain extent, but at the same time, like I'm that way. I don't care what people think. I do to a certain extent, but at the same time, I'm not going to let what they think of me make me unhappy, because I know better. Like, I know me better than anyone else, so don't try to pull that scam on me.
Right. You're right. And so, you know, we were going to talk about heaven and hell, and, you know, speaking of hell, which I often am.
Yeah.
Now, do you think, Tessa, that certain people go to a hellish place after they die?
Well, you know, I'm kind of torn on that subject. I kind of believe it's all in what your belief system is when you do pass away. Like, if you believe there's a hell and you've created your own hell in your mind, that's probably where you're going to go until you learn otherwise. But from my understanding, hell wasn't made for us. Hell was made for Satan and his angels. And it was never made for man. It even says, like, I will go and prepare a place for you. So that was never really an option for us. But I think mankind has put it out there as kind of a control thing. And it started a long time ago. But just as a way to control us. And you know, it does help to keep us on the straight and narrow in some aspects of it. But I don't know. I don't fear going to hell, and I don't really think I think it's just all in what you've created in your mind.
I think so too. That's exactly what I would say, Tessa, is what you just said, is that if you think you're going to a hellish place, that's where you're going to be, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and for example, one of the ghosts that we had come across, she was very, like immediately, early in the morning, communicating, telling us her name, what had happened, names of other people, and what had happened. And she was raised Catholic, even though she was a soiled dove or a prostitute back in that time. She ended up killing herself because of what had happened to her boyfriend. She felt like had she not been there, it wouldn't have happened. But she killed herself, and being Catholic, she, you know, thought she'd be stuck in purgatory or whatever. And she was, from the late 1800s until we had gone in there, and then shortly after, a Catholic school class had gone in there and said a prayer of release from purgatory. She was actually gone for about 3 months, but then, you know, using her free agency, she came back to help Emmy, who's a little girl ghost, because the brakeman who had killed her fiance, he was there bullying and I'm not sure why he's stuck there. Maybe it's his belief system. It's pretty confusing, but it's interesting to, delve in and investigate and find out. But yeah, she was freed from that place, and she's actually free to move about now. She's not just stuck on that train car, which was the beginning of her downward spiral and taking her own life.
Right. Now, do you feel, Tessa, when you're on these investigations, that if you see or you encounter a stuck spirit, do you think it's your duty to try to move them on, or how do you feel about that?
I'm a harsh believer in free agency. If that spirit wants to move on, we'll help them do that, but they don't always want to move on. There's a lot of them that are happy and fine where they're at right now, but yeah, if they want to, we'll try to help them in whatever way we can. If they don't, then we just let them be. But yeah.
Right. No, that's good. I'm saying, like, if they express that they want to move on, you do try to help,
Yes. Yeah, and that's our goal with our Four Corners Paranormal Investigations, to not only help people on this side, but help people on the other, because in the end, we're all people, and we're all going to be ghosts someday, and if I was a ghost and I was stuck, I'd want someone to help. But on that note, we have to go to our first commercial break. Corrine, hold on. Corrine, and all you listeners, hang on, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for some great nightlife? The Moose Vancouver is the place to be. Catch a game on one of the big screens, or just come rock out to your favorite 80s and 90s hair bands. Great food starting at $6.95. The Moose Vancouver is open until 2 a.m. nightly. It's easy to find near the corner of Nelson and Granville. The Moose Vancouver is the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Find your escape where time has no limits. It's about living today and cherishing the heritage of yesterday. A spirit of adventure for what is new, with the nostalgia of the past. Your timepiece is a reflection of who you are. Life surrounded by beauty, from the world around us to the soul within. EscapeWatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Coming September 28th to the 30th, it's our first annual Caribou Paracon, put on by Spaced Out Radio and the Canadian Society of Questers. 3 days of paranormal, supernatural, and spiritual knowledge in the beautiful 108 Mile Ranch, British Columbia. Tickets are $150 Canadian for the event, being held at the Spruce Hills Resort and Spa. Come watch our featured speaker, Grant Cameron, along with Lorian Fenton, David Weatherly, Ross Allison, and more. The Caribou Paracon, celebrating everything paranormal.
Are you tired of being blocked, shadow banned, or placed in jail for simply posting your thoughts on social media? Social Media Freedom can take care of that for you. Social Media Freedom is the newest and one of the best free new apps that allows you the freedom to post what you want, when you want. It takes seconds to download from your app store. Come join the tribe at Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
We're bringing scientific thought to the paranormal. Hi there, this is Spaced Out Radio scientist Chris Cogswell. Join me, Chris Zuger, and Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month, where we break down the who from the woo when it comes to everything paranormal. We'll investigate and try to bring sensible answers to those straight and sometimes outlandish questions people have. Hey, not everything has an answer, but we'll do our best. Listen in to Reality Paranormal only on Spaced Out Radio.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
When it comes to the news, we look for the stories that the mainstream won't cover. Welcome to Spaced Out Radio's The Encounter. This is News Director Everett Thiemer. The Encounter is about the weird and strange stories that occur daily, and we scour the world looking to bring them to you. You can hear me with Dave Scott every Monday through Friday in our Encounter news segment. Read us online at spacedoutradio.com or check us out and give our Facebook page a like at SOR The Encounter. So come give The Encounter a read.
Are you an experiencer? Have you had run-ins with strange creatures you can't explain? ETs, Dogman, Bigfoot, werewolves? They're enough to scare the daylights out of anyone. Hi there, I'm Butch Witkowski from your 4-Cop. And on the last Monday of every month, you can listen to me and the host, Dave Scott, talk about the weird and the strange being reported on Spaced Out Radio. I'm going to bring my investigations and sources, you bring your experiences, and we'll figure out the rest together. Strange Days on Spaced Out Radio. Come tune us in at spacedoutradio.com.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Are you interested in advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Head to our website at spacedoutradio.com and click on our advertising tab. There, you will find an assortment of ways you can get your product out there with us, from radio commercials to banners and social media. Have a product you like our hosts to endorse? We can do that too. Visit spacedoutradio.com for more details.
Looking for nighttime adventure? Old school radio that delves into everything out of the norm? Then check us out at Spaced Out Radio. This is Dave Scott. Every Monday through Friday, starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, we're going to take you on a wild ride ranging from conspiracies to true crime and every ghost, alien, and Sasquatch story in between. We're always live and we're always interactive with you. So join us at spacedoutradio.com, where together we own the night.
Find yourself constantly looking up in the sky, looking for answers? Have you had extraterrestrial contact? Are you an abductee? Looking for answers to your experiences? Hi there, I'm R. Keith Andrews, Spaced Out Radio's resident ET expert. Join me live the first Friday of every month, where I take questions from the Spaced Out Radio chat room and help you understand those from the far-off world. It's 2 hours of knowledge every experiencer should listen to. Hope to see you there.
Tonight's show and topic of discussion do not necessarily reflect the opinion of Spaced Out Radio, SOR Media, or its hosts. Listener discretion is advised. It's hour number 3 of Spaced Out Sunday with host Tessa Nicole Thomas. Follow Tessa on Twitter at TessaTNT. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. Now back to the Rocky Mountains. Here's Tessa.
Hey guys, welcome back. It's so great to have you in tonight, and it's so awesome. We have Corrine DeWinter in, and she's an amazing medium, artist, and poet, as well as an award-winning author. Welcome back, Corrine.
Thanks, Tessa.
Okay, so did you find your poem?
I did. I found too many of them. I don't want to scare the people away from listening.
Huh.
You know what my mother used to do? My mother, when I would want to read her new poem, she would put her fingers up to her head like she was shooting herself in the head with a gun.
Aww. She's like, not another one.
Oh boy. All right. So, well, if you know my poems, you know that none of them are very chipper, although I do write inspirational stuff too that is in a lot of different books. But this one isn't one of those inspirational.
Okay.
Okay, so it's called Black-Hearted Boys. They say Hitler read fairy tales at bedtime. These are the seeds of hell. A maple tree blocks the sun with its black leaves, and autumn, the dead lover, has come to embrace me. I will give it all the wildlife of my deep south. I will welcome the black leaves between my thighs, for I am like Ophelia, the swamp angel, who lies down without prayer in the mud and weeds. He was a soldier, that one, who stained my white dress red. He was a landmine, that one, left me searching the dark for my other half. As you can tell, I've been in love before and with the wrong people, so that's that's one of my more chipper poems. But here's another one. It's about, do you know who John Wayne Gacy is or was?
Yeah.
Okay. So, you know, for those of you who don't know, he was a murderous clown. He was a clown, but he murdered little boys. Okay, so it's called Blue Smile. Oh, he could make them laugh and forget their sorrows. It began with that slow blue crescent smudged by the mouth of a whiskey bottle. Smiling at the children, he studied their small features lined up in each row, the expectant doe-like eyes, the frail arms, the way their laughter seemed to bubble from the slender throats. He'd always been swift, moving from one dirty city to the next. He had been impossible at times to wait. It had been impossible at times to wait, to find patience for the funhouse victory. But when it came finally, his gloved hands would find that perfect circle, the fresh, soft skin of circulation. And they would no longer laugh at him, this blue youth, blue childhood that had sought amusement and found only a last chance, the painted, mad smile of deliverance.
Yeah, that's pretty deep. But that picture that you painted, you know, that last scene that child had seen, like, it gives you the goosebumps.
Yeah, thank you. I hope so.
Mission complete.
Right.
Okay, so were those the two that you wanted to read?
Yeah, that's enough. I don't want to, you know, I don't think, I know people don't like poetry, so I don't try to force it on them.
Yeah. I remember, well, when I was reading through your things, the one where, I think it was called The Arms of a Stranger. Is that?
Oh, yeah. Compass, right?
I believe so, like where she's walking into the chapel barefoot after being in the arms of a stranger.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that one. I'm so freaking conceited. No, but I do love that one. It is called the A Stranger's Arms.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
I get my things backwards sometimes. Bass-ackwards.
That's okay.
But getting into the paranormal aspect of things, how old were you when you had your first paranormal experience?
Well, I don't know. I mean, because I grew up with my mom was into all this stuff. And, of course, she had Ouija boards. And we would do seances and things like that. So, I mean, but as far as when I first experienced something very paranormal, I have to say it wasn't until I didn't see it with my own eyes until I was at Lizzie Borden's one year. And we're at Lizzie Borden's is in Fall River, Mass. And we go there every July because it was Lizzie's birthday, and we would go there and get her a birthday cake and all that stuff. A bunch of me and a bunch of other horror writers. And so we're there, and it's nighttime. We're at the the dining room table, where the bodies had been laid out when they died, or when they were killed, I should say. The bodies had been laid out on that table, and as they did in the old days. So anyways, we're there. There's about 10 of us around the table, And there's no lights on. We have a medium at one end of the table conducting the seance, and the rest of us, it's dark. There's no lights coming in. But when I described this, I saw this black figure, and it was darker than black. I can't explain it, but I could see the outline, even though it was very dark in the room. But this was darker than the dark in the room. And it moved toward where I was sitting, like, my side of the room. And then all of a sudden, everyone on my side of the table jumped up all at once, because we all felt an animal or something furry go by our ankles.
Oh.
So we all jumped up, right? Everyone felt it. There was no animal there. There wasn't a cat. There was nothing. So we all felt that. And then, and people had seen the dark figure along with me in the room. And then when we went upstairs, there's in the maid's room, which was Bridget Sullivan's room, there's a chest there, and like a sort of a cabinet type table next to the bed. And it latches. Okay, the door on that thing latches. So we saw this thing. I think we got film of it too. We saw this thing open and close like 3 times. There's no way the thing could have opened by itself with a latch on it, okay? But we saw this happen.
Mm-hmm.
In addition to that, in that room where the chest was, the big chest, someone had a, one of the meters there, the, what do you call those meters? The Gauss meter. And the Gauss meter was going off crazy around this chest. So we opened the chest, nothing was there. We found out what was beneath that. It was just the floor and then the room beneath it. There was no wires or anything there. We could not figure out why the chest was going nuts. I mean, it was at red the whole time. We could never figure that out. I still can't figure it out. So
do you
anyways,
know where the chest came from? Was it really old or?
It's very, very old. And I could never find out. Leanne, the lady who owns the house, wasn't there, so I couldn't ask her where it came from. But yeah, there was nothing that would make that go off like that in that area. It wasn't like it was near electricity or anything like that,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it has to be, just the fluctuations that do happen in the air when there is something there. Even when you're using dowsing rods, they'll just start spinning, each one of them like a fan, until you ask them to clear the rods, and then it'll stop and open. But there is a detectable energy anomaly that does happen when there is ghost or spirit or whatnot around. It's pretty interesting.
Yes, it is. It really is. And especially when you can disprove what might be causing it and there's nothing else there, you know? So that's probably my first real paranormal experiences, like maybe 10, 11 years ago at Lizzie's. Although when my mother was doing the Ouija board thing, it certainly scared the hell out of me.
Yeah.
Because it said I was going to die. The Ouija board said I was going to die, and it's only about a year off from how old I am now.
Oh, man.
So that's a little disconcerting,
Yeah, so you got a year to go until you're all right?
Yeah.
I kind of went through something
like that, too. What do you think I'm going to be thinking about, Tessa? You know what I mean? I'm going to be like, oh, my God, I got a year left to live. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Man, that's got to be scary.
It is, but, my mediums told me, come on, you're not going to die at that age. But I'm assuming that they know what they're talking about, hopefully.
Yeah, just maybe try not to put any energy towards it. Try not to think about it. Like, it's difficult not to, when you're thinking about your own mortality. But I think the less energy you put that way, the better. But I had to freak out as well. Like, my mom died at 33, and my sister almost died in a car accident at 33. But I'm pretty sure my mom was there protecting her. And so as my year 33 was approaching, I was really stressed out and thinking, our family's cursed. This is meant to happen. I'm going to have an accident, when I'm 33 and I'm going to die and my kids are going to be raised by my husband. Oh my goodness. And, but it didn't happen. And once that was gone and over with, there was this sense of ease and I was able to relax and not think about it anymore.
Right. Oh, wow. So how did you finally got over it when the 33 year was over?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Wow. Well, that must have been a hell of a year.
Yeah, it was pretty stressful. Like, like I was saying, I didn't try to think about it all the time, but it does. It just pops up. Remember, this is what's going on. And yeah, luckily it didn't happen. And I have had a few close encounters, but I do believe that our loved ones have the ability to protect us,
Oh, they do. They do.
So you were saying, when you were 13, your first Ouija board experience was communicating with your mom?
No, my mom died 10 years ago now. No,
Okay.
I was just asking when I was going to die to the Ouija board.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I shouldn't have been asking that question.
Yeah, that's one of the ones you shouldn't ask. When we go dowsing, I've taken the kids, and once my nephew was like, well, you want to come with us? Because we were supposedly talking to a little boy named Billy. And I was like, Joe, you never asked that question. Don't ever invite anything to go along with you.
No way. No
yeah.
way.
So, do you still use the Ouija board?
No. And although I think it's a tool just like tarot cards or something, but it kind of, I don't like a lot of the connotations with the Ouija board anymore. And it's sort of, it's kind of like a red light to spirits, especially lower level spirits.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to come around. So, I mean, if you're going to use the Ouija board at all, you got to be very specific, put light around the area, and protect yourself pretty good, because I just think there's a lot of trouble making lower level spirits that will step in,
Yeah, they do try to use that to their advantage, and it makes me wonder, like, what were the makers of this board thinking when, it's just genius. If you're trying to fuel or, open this portal for the dark side, what better way to do that than advertise it as a parlor game, and they make it specifically for kids. They make them pink. They make all kinds of...
Yeah, can you believe that?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And a lot of people just run away and leave the gate open and don't realize you're supposed to close it, And even doing that, I don't even know if that fully works. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't, I don't know. I think you really got to know what you're doing if you're going to use that,
Yeah. It's scary. Like, just the things that do take advantage and they make you think it is someone that you're wanting to talk to. But I don't know. I tried it one time when I was in MRP, and it was during Hurricane Bonnie, and the men's and women's unit had inherited this Ouija board that belonged to Private Black, who was actually killed by a tank during training exercises. So it was like a week or two after he had passed, and we were passing this thing back and forth, and I was raised LDS, aka Mormon, and I was always taught, Dungeons and Dragons is bad, which I love Dungeons and Dragons, I must admit. Yeah. And the Ouija board, don't ever mess with it. And so the girls are playing on this Ouija board, and I'm watching, and they're like, do you want to come on? And I'm like, no, and they're like, come on, it's okay, we're fine, nothing's happened to us. And so I get on there, and I'm like, can I talk to my mom? And it said no, and so I was like, F you then, and I went and took a shower. I came back, everybody was gone, but the Ouija board was on my rack, and I was like, well, I'll try this, not knowing you're not supposed to do it alone. And I get on there, and it just starts going off like hardcore back and forth, saying my siblings' names, I'm okay, I love them, everything's gonna be okay, and then so many different questions that I asked her, and I truly believe it was her, but I told my dad the next day, and he's like, well, you don't know that was your mom. It could be a deceptive spirit trying to make you think so, but with the energy and the names and everything that came through, I do believe it was her. I feel it was her, but I've never messed with it since.
Right, that's good. That's good. But, you know, it could very well have been your mom, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he put kind of a damper on it for me, but I was like, I'm still glad that I got to talk to her, and it did answer a lot of questions for me, and, you know, I know she's fine, and she's here with us when we need her, you know, at our biggest moments, but, yeah. So tonight our main topic is heaven and hell, and where the hell do we start with that topic? It's so, like, diverse, and there's so many scenarios. It's just an expansive topic.
Yeah.
But
So,
what
go ahead.
does heaven and hell actually exist?
Right. So I'm going to read the Webster Dictionary definition of hell, and it is a nether world in which the dead continue to exist. Hades, the nether realm of the devil and the demons in which condemned people suffer everlasting punishment, often used in curses. And then they say, 2, a place or state of misery, torment, or wickedness. A place of turmoil or destruction. A severe scolding, or that's those are the different definitions of where you would use hell. An extremely unpleasant and often inescapable situation.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't mean to laugh at it, but I do think that we build our own heaven and we build our own hell. And I believe, Tessa, even I would like to sometimes believe in an old-fashioned hell, because there's a lot of people we encounter in life that you're like, oh my God, are they ever going to suffer? Are they ever going to freaking know what they did wrong?
Mm-hmm.
But I think that they do. Like, I read this book once called Spirit Faces by Mark Macy, and he says he had, this guy has, like, dealt with this stuff for years and years. I really like him. And he said that he had talked to some departed souls, and they told him that there is a realm right above Earth, like right, at the same frequency almost as Earth, and it's called the dismal realm. And I call it the DR. So in the dismal realm, you can actually still go to bars and get drunk, or you can gamble, or you can do anything you want to do in that realm. Okay, so these are the lower level spirits. And one of the spirits told him that in that lower level, say you wanted to get drunk, okay, say you were like a big drinker on Earth and you died and you're in the dismal realm, some of these spirits would actually walk into people on Earth that were getting drunk in bars. And to feel, they'd be like walking into this person's body to feel the drunkenness of the person. Now, this is why they call spirits in the first place, alcohol spirits.
True.
We know that.
Yeah.
And but this dismal realm has all kind of human addictions to it, supposedly. But you can leave there any time, right? So, but I do believe, like, you end up where you go over to the other side or whatever, the different frequency, and wherever you're at is where you're is the environment you've created, much like the environment we create here in living, okay? Like, you've created an environment, Tessa, where you have children, things are peaceful. I think that we do the same on the other side. Some people have a life here that is like hell. They're addicts. They've been molested, or they're the molester or the rapist. What kind of life are they living here? That is like a hell in itself. So when it comes to the other side or the other realms, I think we also have free will there. We can be in a suck nightmare of sorts, or we can move on to, joyful light realms. So, I mean, is that what you believe too?
Well, I mean, yeah, I believe it is what you make it, what your belief system is. You kind of get stuck in depending on how hardcore your faith is. But yeah, on the other side, I think it is, love, because love is the key. Spreading that love and joy around. I'm not saying run around and hug trees and everything, but to hug the occasional stranger, sometimes they need it. But it is what you make it. And I think it's that way with life too. And, yeah, if you believe in hell and brimstone or whatnot on the other side, I mean, that's where you're going to be stuck, or on this car where your demise, began, or in a fiery pit. I mean, I couldn't imagine that, but, yeah, it's so confusing, and a lot of people say, like, Earth is hell, like, this is hell on Earth. What are your thoughts on that?
So I think that there is a lot of hell on Earth, because certainly we see it, right? We see these really horrific things happening, especially, it seems, now. And why do they happen? Like, people blame God. People say, oh, I stopped believing in God because how would God give my 3-year-old child cancer and allow this to happen? But there are reasons for things. I truly believe this, that there are reasons and purposes for everything that happens in our lives. Rainer Maria Rilke said, he was a poet. He was great. I love Rilke. He said, everything that happens to us is right. And we can't see it because we cannot trace the labyrinth of why things happen while we are just human. When we become spirit, I think that we will be able to see, oh, this is why this happened. This is why, my father had to die of Alzheimer's. And this is why, this happened and that happened. We will be able to see the path and the reasons and purposes for all of these terrible things that happen or not happen in our lives. I don't know anyone who doesn't have their own hell going on. I don't know anyone that is just happy-go-lucky, even though some people seem that way. Everybody has their own trials and sorrows.
Yeah, and a lot of things that are hard on us are just trying to get a message through. If you learn from it, it's not a mistake, it's a lesson. And there's so many lessons that we're supposed to learn through life, and sometimes it does feel really hard, and like you just can't get through it, but you just got to keep going, keep swimming is what I say a lot, because at the other end I'm lucky enough that I have understood and seen things. I don't have to wait till the afterlife to realize, why certain things happen, like my mom's death or my dad's death or whatnot. There were so many things that I learned from those happenings. They were negative, but I learned from it, and it's made me who I am today. And it is interesting, everybody does kind of build their own hell, and it does kind of seem like we're there at the moment, but it's really not. Like, hell is much worse, and it is what we make it, and it does seem kind of dreary, and I just can't go anymore, but you can. This lesson was put before you for a reason, for you to learn, and hopefully you get it so you don't have to repeat it. And a lot of people do have to go through crap a lot. And what really irritates me about, like we've talked about karma before, and you've said good things don't always happen to good people, and so many times I've seen good people die young, and sometimes terrible ways, while the bad people seem to live forever. Is that justified? I'm not sure. Maybe, they have a hard life and they have to live that sentence and then go through their judgment, or maybe they just haven't learned their lesson yet. I'm not sure what exactly it is. It is hard to wrap your mind around it sometimes, but yeah, it's an interesting aspect and somewhat confusing.
It is very confusing. And the thing is, we see plenty of people, like you just said, living out long, mostly healthy lives that are awful people, you know? And it's like, but I also say this, Tessa, there's no crime and there's no punishment in dying. Even if you die as a young child, that is not a punishment. You know, and people like, oh my God, poor Robbie or poor, you know, whoever they're talking about. And it's like, man, they're so much better off than we are. They never want to come back to Earth. You know what I mean? And I get it, man. And but if you go and tell people this, that, you know, if people truly believe that the hereafter is much more joyful and happy than here on Earth, you're going to have tons of suicides.
Well, that's like...
and we don't want that either.
Yeah, when people first came over here to the United States back in the day, suicide actually was not a sin yet. People started killing themselves off because life was so hard, and you know, what better place to be than on the other side where it's just joy and love and whatnot. So they started making it a rule that suicide is a sin, so people would quit doing it. And so when people tell me, you know, my dad killed himself, but he was a really good guy, or my best friend, or my brother, or my sister, or whoever, I tell them I don't believe everyone that has killed themselves goes to hell. You know, it is what, you know, their faith or their belief is, but no. Just because they did that, they were in a hard place, and I do believe there is a place for those who do have it really bad. Yeah.
I think so too. And so when people are like, oh, you know, my friend committed suicide and I think they're in hell now. No. Okay, there's no, all right, as far as I know, you know, Tessa, we can talk about this till the cows come home. But I mean, these are really just our opinions. But in my opinion, and it's a strong opinion, there is no judgment over there in the other realm. There's no judgment. The only person that judges you is yourself. So, and I want to bring this point up too, that Mark Macy in that book talked about this Pope. I can't remember what Pope this was. This was a long time ago. The Pope deemed that animals had no soul. And he said, you can treat animals any way you want because they don't have souls. So people were treating animals badly due to what this Pope said.
Yeah,
so
not
the Pope
true.
dies. Not true at all. The Pope dies and sees his error, and where the Pope was when Mark Macy wrote this book was the Pope himself was on like a farm of sorts with abused animals, and he was shoveling their crap. And he didn't do that. He wasn't doing that because he was made to do it. He did it because he wanted to right his wrong. So he was taking care of abused animals in the other realm, which makes perfect sense to me. You know what I mean?
Totally. And I've seen spirit ghosts. Like, I used to have a black cat that lived in my house in Mancus. It took me a few times of looking for it after I had seen it or almost stepped on it, and it scurried away, and not finding it. That was a ghost spirit, and I've actually had ghost deer run in front of my car, and I'm not sure if that's residual or what, but I know they exist. I've seen them, and I believe that all animals have a soul or a spirit, and, you know, even plants and stuff, they have feelings. You know, it may not be a soul, but, you know, be nice to that. Like, if you were a plant, would you want somebody to be, you know, whacking all your leaves off or something? You know, trying to teach kids to be nice to the smaller things. Don't kill that ant. How would you feel if that, you know, if you were an ant and some person came over and killed you for no reason? But everything does have some sort of energy or light or spirit within it.
I think so too. I definitely think so. And that's why, you know, I think Mother Earth will always right herself, even though we're treating Earth atrociously, in my opinion, and that we've done so much damage and continue to do damage to the Earth. I think in the end, you know, Mother Earth will right herself. or itself, and, you know, it will be okay. But meanwhile, shame on those who don't take care of the earth. I just can't believe people live like they don't care. They don't care, you know?
Yeah. It seems like it sometimes, and I don't understand it either. There's so many things I don't agree with, but being just one person, I can't fix it. Like, I can share my information with others, and maybe that helps, but, yeah, it's pretty sad what's happening and all the denial that everyone has about what's happening. But yeah, volcanoes, you know, all the volcanoes that are going on these days, that's putting out rampant amounts of CO2 and such. But reading up on heaven and hell and stuff, because we have what we're raised with and what our current beliefs are, but what are other beliefs out there. And somewhere I had read that because people are like, well, why doesn't God step in and do this or that? And supposedly he waits till, like, you know, the earth is basically in ruin and, like, saves us from ruin. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but it's an interesting prospect, to say the least.
Yeah.
And you can't be like here for everything, because what we want or feel that we want or need isn't exactly what we do want or need. We just don't see it at the moment.
Right, I agree. I completely agree. And it's like, you know, you can't really blame God for everything. Let's face it. I mean, seriously. Things happen, like these crucial, extreme things that happen and are happening. They're there for a purpose. I mean, they're there to either wake us up or change something in us so that we evolve. Because we're not going to evolve without this stuff. You know, I really think that, you know. So we have to go through this stuff, and we have to face it, and we have to stand up for it, you know. Stand up for what we believe. So, you know.
So, yeah, and there's a lot of questions out there. What is heaven? Is heaven complete or imperfect in any way? Like, there's so many questions out there. Are we hungry or do we get thirsty when we're in heaven? I don't know if that's true. Maybe we just indulge in, you know, the essence of everything. I'm not sure, really. It's like I said before, it's an interesting prospect, and it's a really nice subject to kind of dwell and think upon as you're daydreaming during the day, if you got time for that.
Yeah. So I think that, you know, I've heard many different things about when people, for instance, if somebody had dementia or had cancer when they died, I've heard some people say that they go to a resting place for a long time, that you would rest, you would recuperate, okay? But I know my dad had Alzheimer's. It was very bad. And the minute he died, he was fine. He shot over there, and he was a bright light, and he was absolutely coherent and everything. So I don't think this is necessarily true for everybody. I think that if you feel like you need to rest, you can rest and, you know, recuperate, for lack of a better term, from your long, you know, disease or whatever you had. But I think that some spirits are just ready to roll. You know what I mean?
Yeah, some of them like have it down, and it's like bam, bam, bam. But I have had people come to me and be like, "Well, how come they haven't come to me in a dream, or how come they haven't come back?" Well, there are certain things that they have to or need to do first. They'll be back eventually, but generally there's like at least a 3-week or more waiting period, it seems. And like you said, for rest or recuperation or whatnot, when you come back, you're whole and more beautiful and vibrant than you ever were before, supposedly. But yeah, there is that time of rest. Like whatever your turmoil or whatnot is, it may take longer than others. And I was reading your thing to your dad earlier on your page, and my father-in-law, he had gone through that, and it was just a really sad experience. Like, Alzheimer's and dementia is terrible, and it kind of made me think about that hell on earth aspect of it. Is this some sort of thing that you have to go through in order to, I don't know, it's so confusing and perplexing. But, you know, it happens to the best of us, and I apologize about what your dad had to go through. But I'm so glad that he was happy and free on the other side, and he didn't have that time of confusion, which some people that have to go through that before death, they actually do have some sort of confusion and are lost, actually, for a little bit.
Yeah, and my dad, and I know, like, I don't know a lot of people that brag about their father, but my father was the greatest guy. That I swear to God, my father never said a bad word about anybody, not like me. And but he was such a loving, faithful, kind man to everybody in his life. And for him, and so creative, and just like, you know, man, he provided for us 5 kids. Even when he couldn't do it, he still did it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So anyway, his father was like an amazing man. And so it was no surprise to me that when he died, he just totally was, you know, oh, I'm okay. Yeah, you know. And I got this directly from one of my mediums, and she's like, okay, so your father, you know, she told me when he was going to die. She said, okay, start praying and whatever. I had been praying anyways, but I mean, she said there's a bunch of people around his bed, and then I had been smelling smoke. My mother smoked all the time, and I knew my mom was there. I knew that he was ready to go, and she told me. And then a couple days after that, he actually did die, and I was just like, oh my God. And it was because I had been watching him dissolve for 8 years, and it was so hard. It was just like, oh my God, how much more sad can this get? You know what I mean? But I knew it was me, Tessa, that was feeling, like, I knew he wasn't feeling, I don't think he was feeling, you know, I know at times he was embarrassed because I had to change him, but I don't think he had the wherewithal to realize that. But anyways, the point is this: I'm honored to this day to be able to take care of my dad. Like, he took care of me my whole life. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it was a blessing, you know, that I was able to keep him at home. I didn't want him to go into a nursing home. It was a really long war of trying to keep him at home and being able to afford that with caregivers and medicine and everything that it entailed. But I mean, oh my God, if I hadn't done that now, I would be so disappointed in myself right now. So I'm so glad I was able to do that, you know?
Yeah, and it is harder for us than it is for them. Because when it comes to certain things like that, even with comas, they're not really stuck in their body. They're able to, you know, travel about. I've heard so many different stories. It's really interesting. But BTO in the chat room was asking, but why do people still linger on? Is it waiting for reincarnation? Is it watching over their family or unfinished business, perhaps?
Okay, so I think that they do hang around us when they die directly afterwards. They do their essence and their spirit is really around us a lot for the first few months of their death. And then they move on. If they're hanging around after the first few months, they probably have a message. They want to say something that was unfinished. And again, I got to point to visit a good medium. You know what I mean? You will get your message. You will talk to them.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I mean, but I think that some of them are just unhappy. I mean, what do you think, Tessa? Why do they hang around some of them more than others?
I think different people have different perspectives of life and different priorities. And some people cling to different things, whether it's worldly things or worrying about your kids or, like BTO had said, unfinished business. And you're looking for someone to get that message across or I do believe that our passed on loved ones and friends do come and see us in dreams, and to really take note of that when they do come and see you. Like, sometimes it doesn't make sense, but a lot of times they are able to get that message across, and I think it's just kind of hard for them to figure out how exactly to communicate or how it all works on the other side, as this is all a learning process. But yeah, and going back to your belief system, what is your faith? What is your hardcore belief? What have you grown up believing? If that's what it is and you think you're going to be stuck in purgatory because you killed yourself, well, you're going to be in that little place that you made for yourself in your mind that you've probably thought about a million times, until, somebody comes along and does that thing, like say a prayer or whatever it is that releases you from being in that place. Then you're able to move on, because beliefs and faith are such a hardcore thing. It's hard to uninstill that in yourself, You instill that in yourself, being raised, and after so many years, it's hard to take that out, even in the spiritual realm.
You're right. So let's just tell people that are listening now, if you, when you die, if you feel like you deserve hell, just call out to your loved ones on the other side. But, what's incredible to me, Tessa, is that some people die and they don't know they're dead. Like, how would you not know you're dead? How would you not know you're dead?
Maybe it just happens so quickly, or it's just that state of disbelief you just can't get over.
Yeah, I'm like, man, for like 100 years, you're a spirit who doesn't think they're dead, and you're hanging out in some hallway.
Yeah.
I mean, how could... No, but they say that time goes by way quicker there than it does here. There is no time there. You know that. But, but really, how could they be stuck for so long? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's crazy to think about how exactly does that work, and, we might not ever know, or maybe someday we'll come up with the technology where it's like, picking up a phone and calling somebody, you get all this information, and we finally figure out what it's all about, but maybe we're just not meant to, and so that's why it's so hard to get that investigative material or that hardcore proof that, there is another side. Like, when people believe that there's nothingness on the other side, that's hard for me to grasp. Like, how can you even think that? Like, I don't want to think about worms eating my body or whatever, but I don't want to think of dark, cold nothingness,
No, and this is what I argue with people that don't believe in life after death. I'm like, one of the laws of quantum physics is that energy exists and energy never dies. We are energy. And so science, to a certain degree, is also getting on board with, yes, we don't ever die. Even though you'll meet a lot of scientists that deny that we have life after death because they're just, stuck in the whatever, the non-belief of it. But I mean, it is a scientific fact that energy never dies, and we are energy. So what is the problem? Why can't you believe that? But but Tessa, it's fear. Fear. A lot of people come from a place of fear, and it's sad. It's like, get rid of the freaking fear,
Yeah, and it does draw a lot of energy, and that's why a lot of negative energies like to feed off of that. It's pretty hardcore and explosive. But yeah, it's just amazing. So what do you think about reincarnation or eternal life?
Well, I believe in eternal life, of course, but reincarnation, I think that we can choose if we want to reincarnate or not. I interviewed a guy, August Goforth, who didn't believe in reincarnation. He said that most of the people that think they were reincarnated were just remembering people that they knew in other realms, like other timelines, so to speak, which I thought was interesting, but I didn't quite cop to that. Do you believe in reincarnation?
I do, and I actually my youngest daughter, out of all my kids, I'm like, this kid has definitely been reincarnated because of so many strange things that she has said and done, and at such a young age. It's like things she shouldn't know. She said, remember when I was a boy and I was older and I wore glasses? And I tell her, no, I don't remember that, but I believe you. And if you remember anything else, make sure you tell me. And one time I caught her playing with a lanyard, what you put your keys on the end of it? And
Yeah.
she was tying it around her leg, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you're going to cut off the circulation. And she said, if I don't tie this off, I'm going to bleed out and die. And I'm like,
oh, God.
Yeah, you're only 2 years old. Like, where are you even getting this? But so many, so many different things like that. And she is like so free-spirited. Like, her favorite word is no. And I don't know. I do believe in reincarnation. I do also believe that before we come down to Earth, we get to see, like a sneak peek of our life, like a movie or whatever. This is what's going to happen in your life. Do you want to go there or no? And we always, choose to, because life is a gift. No matter how hard it is, there's so many spirits out there that don't get the same opportunity. Maybe it's a few seconds or a few minutes or a few weeks on Earth. They never get that full experience, because I truly believe we're spiritual beings having an earthly experience or a human experience. We're not human beings having a spiritual experience.
Right. I agree. And a lot of people, from what I've read, a lot of the spirits say that Earth is like the Wild West. It's like if you come to Earth and you decide to live this life, you're considered pretty brave, because it's full of, challenges, really. So, I mean, but I've heard of, like, spirits coming back from Earth or after you die, and people being like, wow, you did it. You know what I mean? And I can see that. I mean, that makes sense to me, because living on Earth and being human is hard. It's hard. And so, we'll see,
It's hard, but there's so many awesome things about it, too. Like, it's hard to just chalk it up to one thing, because not everybody has the same experience. And sometimes it is hard to see that good stuff through the bad, but it's out there.
You're right. Right. Damn Skippy Corrine. What does that mean? I don't know. I'm reading the chat here.
Sister Earth is the university of this universe.
Yes, I know. It is. They're right. Exactly. Because, oh my God, like, just think about your life so far, Tessa. It's like, oh my God, how much have you learned? A hell of a lot, right?
Yeah. And people laugh at me because I put on my profile, School of Hard Knocks and all this other stuff. But it's true. This is the School of Hard Knocks. If you don't realize it, you're in a dream world. At least for me, it is.
Yeah, even when you have, like, I know, like, I'm friends with a couple millionaires. Even as a millionaire, I'm not a millionaire, so I can't tell you exactly how it feels, but I know that they have as many issues as I do, and they have all the money. You know what I mean? To like, you would think that would make a difference, but it really does not,
Yeah, it doesn't. Even the richest people can be the most unhappy, and we've seen that in the news as of late with different high-profile people with all the money in the world killing themselves, and my husband said, well, I'd like to be sat on a yacht, like, I'd be okay with that, but it's a little bit harder than that.
Right. I think, like, the point is that, like, I think that a lot of us as human beings, and I'm not going to say all of us, but maybe 40% don't get why we're here. Mm-hmm. And I believe we're here to experience, like BTO said, and to learn. And we're not meant to be miserable either. We're meant to help one another, love one another. Such a simple thing, but love one another says it all to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
it truly does. And, it's hard for people to not only do that, but to accept it, because it is kind of foreign these days. But yeah, people get so surprised when you're like, can I give you a hug? Because you just feel like they need it, And people, like complete strangers, open up to me all the time and tell me all their horrible life stuff. And I think I'm kind of like that outlet for them. I'm meant to be there. I'm meant to hear that and give them my perspective, or just give them a hug, and send them love and light.
Right.
And somebody does love you, and somebody does care about you. I may not know two cents about you, but I can feel that you are a good person. I can feel your energy, and nobody should have to go through that. And it's really not that hard to look at somebody and give them a smile or say a simple hello. Life does get busy and hectic, but take that few minutes out. It'll make them feel better, and it'll make you feel better.
I know, Tessa, and I can imagine you going up to people. You are so beautiful, and I've told you this before, but you are so pretty and such a bright spirit that I can imagine when you're approaching people, they're just like, oh my God, you know what I mean? I can feel how they feel, like when you're approaching them. And that is what we're here for, man. You know what I mean? Not to sound like a hippie, but that is why we're here.
It truly is. And I say it all the time, and I'm sure people get tired of hearing it, but love each other, lift each other up. We're here to help each other, and, and you'll probably hear it in my outro, together we can make things a little better. And it's true. It just takes that effort. Get out of your little shell and scamper off and help each other. But it is hard to get out there, because things can get hard and depressing, and you just don't have that enthusiasm or that even energy or willpower to get out there. But it just takes a couple steps, maybe a few, and the more you take, the easier it gets, and you can do it.
Yeah, I agree. And I always feel better, like if I'm going through stuff, which most of us are a lot of the time in our lives, but I reach out to somebody else and try to help them with their problem. It always makes me feel better. Always.
It truly does. And on that note, we got to go to break. You guys don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after these messages.
The first annual Caribou Paracon is happening September 28th to 30th in the 108 Mile Ranch, British Columbia. Brought to you by the Canadian Society of Questers and Spaced Out Radio. Come listen to our featured speaker, Grant Cameron, along with Elizabeth Anglin, Paisley Town, Mike Moran, Eric Cooper, and more. It's a 3-day supernatural adventure at the Spruce Hills Resort and Spa. Tickets for the weekend are $150 Canadian. The Caribou Paracon, celebrating everything paranormal.
Are you tired of being blocked, shadow banned, or placed in jail for simply posting your thoughts on social media? Social Media Freedom can take care of that for you. Social Media Freedom is the newest and one of the best free new apps that allows you the freedom to post what you want, when you want. It takes seconds to download from your app store. Come join the tribe at Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Are you an experiencer? Have you had run-ins with strange creatures you can't explain? ETs, Dogman, Bigfoot, werewolves? They're enough to scare the daylights out of anyone. Hi there, I'm Butch Witkowski from your 4-Cop. And on the last Monday of every month, you can listen to me and the host, Dave Scott, talk about the weird and the strange being reported on Spaced Out Radio. I'm going to bring my investigations and sources, you bring your experiences, and we'll figure out the rest together. Strange Days on Spaced Out Radio. Come tune us in at spacedoutradio.com.
You know, it's hard being the bad man of ufology, but that's just the way that I like it. This is Chris George Zuger, and I'll be hanging out with Dave Scott and SOR scientist Chris Cogswell for Reality Paranormal, the second Wednesday of every month. And our job is to break it down and come to conclusions as to what is really going on in the supernatural world. I'd love for you to join us and bring your questions for us to investigate right here on Spaced Out Radio.
There's news, and there's the encounter. This is Spaced Out Radio News Director Everett Thiemer inviting you to check out The Encounter. Our half-hour news segment every Monday through Friday night is different compared to what you're used to. Our goal is to bring you the weird, strange, and interesting stories the mainstream tends to leave out, and stories that will make you scratch your head in disbelief. The Encounter can also be found at spacedoutradio.com and on our Facebook page, SOR The Encounter. Come give us a read.
Do you want to know what's really going on in your world? Do you have questions about who you can trust in the mainstream media? Then look no further than the Rebel Planet. Come get the straight answers right here at spacedoutradio.com. Join me, Jamie Sexton, creator of Rebel Planet News, as I fill you in on the stories behind the stories. All you truth seekers, be sure to tune in to Rebel Planet on spacedoutradio.com the third Thursday of every month.
Hi there, this is Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and I want you to come on a nightly journey. Starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, every Monday through Friday, you can come hang out with me and the other space travelers. We have it all from Carl the Alien bouncing on by to those misfit gnomes causing havoc. It's 3 hours of fun and entertainment on those topics the mainstream really doesn't want to touch. Come get all paranormal with us at spacedoutradio.com, and together, my friends, along with our resident guitar god Bumblefoot, we own the night.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Tonight's show and topic of discussion do not necessarily reflect the opinion of Spaced Out Radio, SOR Media, or its hosts. Listener discretion is advised. Here comes the second hour of Spaced Out Sunday with host Tessa Nicole Thomas. Subscribe to us on our YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio. And you can follow Tessa on Twitter at TessaTNT. Now, back to the show.
Hey guys, welcome back. And we've made it to the third hour. So that means we're doing readings with Corrine. And the number, if you would like to call in, let me turn this down a tad, is 970-335-9596. That's 970-335-9596. And as usual, we will be taking questions from the chat room as well. So welcome back, Corrine. Are you there?
Thanks, Tessa. So nice to be here with you. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm so glad you could make it out and that you were willing to hang in there for the third hour. I thought you knew that. I'm sorry I didn't explain it more.
That's okay. No big deal.
Alrighty, so let's see. Let me put the number here. We have a call coming in. We'll add that to group. Alright, so we have a caller with a 402 area code. Who are we speaking with?
Hi, Tessa. It's Sharon. Hi, Corrine.
Sharon.
Hey, Sharon.
Hi, honey.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, I guess. I wanted to see what you pick up about my daughter.
Okay.
Between she and I, our situation.
So, Sharon, has she been pushing you away a little bit, or
a lot? Yeah.
Okay. All right. This seems to be she.
Oh crap.
Hello?
Hold on one second, sorry. We lost these guys. Get back.
I can't hear nothing.
I'm sorry, I've lost our call. Let's see if I could find them again. Sorry.
Hello?
Guys. Yeah, hold on one second, please.
Why she thinks that way? But that's just what I'm picking up.
You know, Corrine, it's her fiance, I guess, her significant other, the father of her kids.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what she's afraid of me, you know, being there, because she's just, I don't know, she's really protective of him, and it's weird.
Okay. Yeah. So, let me ask you, Sharon, what have you done to try to overcome this? If you could do anything, what have you done?
You mean with her, or with relationship, or?
Yeah, with her.
I just
with her. Yeah.
Try to, pretty much up until maybe last week, I just kind of let it, whatever she wants, go. That's all I can do, you know.
Right. Yeah.
I haven't seen her in 3 years. I don't even know have never met one of my grandsons.
Right, I know. That's really sad, I know. You know, I think that if you continue to try to reach out to her, but not like every week, Sharon, but just like maybe once every 3 weeks or so, and you try to write her something that is like what you're doing in your life that's productive, not depressing, not anything sad, but just like tell her what's going on with you and how, do it in a very...
Yeah, I know. I see what you're saying, but we're too connected financially and every other way right now. I couldn't do that.
Okay.
Whereas there's legal stuff and all that going on.
Okay.
That we're both involved in. So that's a lot of the stress is finances.
I bet. I just think that this is going to take a little time, and I'm not sure how to guide you to make it better quicker, because I just think
I just wanted to understand, if you were picking up what I'm picking up, or if you can see better into what's going on with her.
Well, like I said, I think that she feels like she has, expended a lot of energy and time to make her world right into what she wants it to be, and she doesn't want anyone coming in and wrecking that,
Isn't it? That's so weird to even think that she thinks that way,
Well, I'm not saying that I'm necessarily 100% right either, but that's just what I feel like.
No, that sounds right. No, that sounds right. It's just hard for me to believe. It's just hard for me to understand.
Yeah, I know. As a mother,
be like this. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Mhm.
We were always so close. Well, thanks, honey. I don't want to take up your whole show. I'm glad I got to hear your voice.
I thank you, Sharon. You too.
Okay. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, so next we have a 480 area code. Who are we talking to?
Oh, this is Jason here, and I haven't had a reading since 2008, and I didn't put much stock into that one because she was so off the wall wrong. So I don't. And then the one before that was 2000. So I don't know if that other one would count, but I've had a lot of death around me between 2015 and now. Probably over 10 people. Well, that I know over 10 people.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
family members to go.
Jason, do you know a Bill?
Not that I know of. Only Bill I knew was from high school.
Okay, that's okay. I don't know why I was thinking of the name Bill earlier, during the break, but okay, so you've lost 10 people, and all right. So, when I say an A name, does that make sense to you? A?
Oh boy, there's been so many. Oh. I can't even think right now, to be honest, because I think, let's see, most of them were my exes and people that I knew kind of, secondhandly, met 3 or 4 times, if that. Other were people I directly worked with. We'd go by last names, so nobody by last names. I mean, there could have been people that I didn't know their names, that I have witnessed their deaths, at my job. You get rushed to a medical and, the guy died on the gaming floor, so, but you didn't know his name. So I've witnessed things like that. I've picked up, ME cases with probably that name, so it is probable, Okay. I think one of the most scariest things, if we talk about the afterlife and do "Do the dead visit us in dreams?" and then I'll let you go, is when I was about 26, I worked for the medical examiner. So one night I had this horrible dream, and my very first case was this infant. And I didn't want to start my day off with picking up a deceased infant. So I wake up, and it was pretty lucid, and I go to work, and I read the sheet, because sometimes you go in, there's a sheet tells you what hospitals to go to. So I said, "Oh, go pick up this Thomas, guy." So I go down and get to the morgue with the security, and I walk in, and I'm looking around, and I don't see anything. And I said, "What is this, a sick joke?" I said, "There ain't nobody in there." He goes, "Oh, yeah, he's in there." I said, "No, he's not." I said, I looked at every single slab. Way off in the corner, what you know it is a deceased infant, and it turns out he died of heart failure. He was only 2 days old, and that just blew my mind. It was like, "Oh, thanks, this is my dream coming true." So that was the most bizarre. Yeah.
So how do you handle this, Jason? Are you do you?
Well,
I'm wondering how you feel about this.
Well, I at that time I had a crazy roommate who was into he called it white witchcraft, which I beg to differ because of his practices. And then at the time, a friend who was into getting into that sort of thing, he was training her, so to speak. And so one time we walked into a metaphysical bookstore, and the owner behind the counter started telling me describing the people I had picked up, because she'd asked me if I worked in a hospital, and I said, "Well, not exactly, but I visit them a lot." So she described 9 people whom I had picked up, and she was spot on about every one of them, and that was a little freaky. She says, "Oh, they're all following you around." I'm like, "What?" So, I don't know if I don't know if them practicing the dark art, so to speak, had anything to do with them being latched on, but my apartment was definitely haunted. It was. If I wrote a book, it would be anything short of Amityville. I think the most violent it ever got was at another location, like the Coos Ball and other things started flying through the air, with me and multiple witnesses. Wow. So I don't know if I've been a magnet for these things, but it's always been ongoing ever since I was a little kid.
But I think that I don't think it has anything to do with your white witchcraft or whatever you just said. I think it's your personality and your aura. Some people just attract that. They feel comfortable with you, and they're like, yeah. And not that they're looking for anything from you, but they feel comfortable around you. And
now, here's what.
So,
here's one. I caught an EVP on video a few weeks ago. Now, my place isn't haunted per se. So when I went to an investigator and told him, he quit talking to me. I think he thought I was making fun of him, and it really wasn't. It was like, I got a genuine EVP. Why did I pick it up in a place that's not haunted per se?
Right. No, yeah, but don't you think that there's spirits everywhere? It's like, it doesn't have to be a haunted house that you get EVPs from,
Right, they're just passing through, I do live in the big old sandbox, so to speak.
Jason, do you have anything to do with Greece?
With what?
Greece?
You cut off at the last
Greece?
Part, Greece? No, but the closest thing I got to Greece was meeting Leonard Cohen, and he was a big, he went to Greece a lot, he had a house there and everything. So that's about the only association when I got to see him live.
I love Leonard Cohen.
Mm-hmm. That I got to do before he passed on. Okay. And that was a good concert. But I'll let you go because I kind of took up a little time, but apologize for that. So.
That's okay. I like hearing your story. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much, Jason.
Have a good night. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. Good night. All right. Well, I'm not seeing any questions or calls in yet, but yeah, that was, man, that's a lot of trauma.
Yeah. Man is right. And it's like, sometimes, I knew a girl recently that was like, why do all these people die around me? And I'm like, I thought about it, and I'm like, because you're the one that you're visiting them before they die, and they need something about you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just interesting the way spirit will go to certain people because they feel like an affinity with them and comfortable, like I said about Jason, It's interesting.
For sure. Well, it looks like it says unknown number. Is there somebody on the line?
Hello, it's Christopher from Allentown.
Hey, Christopher.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm all right. Hello, Corrine. I think I remember you from chat.
Yeah, you do. Yes, you do. So, Christopher, have you been researching some scientific thing lately?
Yeah, mainly genealogy.
Okay. But there's something in that I don't know, something about what you're researching right now is, it has to do with DNA, but it also has to do with something else that is going to be important to you in the future. Let me see if I can encapsulate it better for you. Okay. Okay. So when you're researching the genealogy, you're going to come across someone that was in your family that did a certain thing about research also. He was researching other things. He was into some kind of science or something about him. But that is also something that you're going to be interested in, I believe, that you're also going to pursue in the future. There's some other thing that's going to wake something up in you that you discover that you're going to actually put into your life in some manner. It's a good thing. It's like really, it's a positive thing. That's how I feel. Have you found anyone like that so far in your genealogy?
In a dream, and he looks like me. A Tess would know who I'm speaking of. I've talked to him astrally, and he told me near the end of a dream, he told me who he was, and I looked it up, and he said, you'll be able to find me through science and law as your interest.
Oh, my God. Okay. So, okay.
He said a family reunion was 3 days worth of time span in a 20-minute dream.
Okay. So have you looked him up and found out what he was researching or doing?
Yeah, it might not be easy to meet him. As he is a prince. Tess can tell you a little bit about him. Him and I are like a doppelganger. That about the right description of it.
Okay.
Yeah, really, really weird. You nailed it right. I didn't even say a word. And I haven't talked to you about it since I haven't seen you in chat in months.
Right. Oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
This is important, Christopher. Listen to me. This is important. You have to find out what the guy was doing exactly and really kind of pick it up. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, my God. This is so uncanny. I had a question, though. I've been wondering about unsolved crime. I was friends with the victim.
Mm-hmm.
The Jardine family back in southern Illinois, where I came from. I feel it's still unsolved. What is your feeling on it?
Now, so this was an unsolved crime from when?
From late 80s.
The 80s, okay. Well, obviously the person was murdered, correct?
Yeah, the whole family.
A whole family. Okay, so what the first thing that came to my mind, Christopher, was that it was a vagrant or some almost homeless guy that went in there and did that. It wasn't like it was premeditated. It was someone that was just wandering that went in and was, off, psychologically off in the first place and went in there and did this. I don't know what you've discovered, but that's the feeling I got.
It gave me horrible dreams. I dreamed the whole damn thing. It was like 15 miles away.
Wow. You have a little gift yourself there, Christopher. You got a gift yourself. You know that, right?
Very much so. I'm also a root digger. Also, as a special terminology, and people that are able to access their DNA memory and stuff.
So interesting.
You are amazing. Are you friends of mine on Facebook? We should chat more.
Yeah, we should become friends on Facebook. Just look up my name, Corrine DeWinter, and you'll find me.
Yeah, you're amazing.
Well, thanks so much, Christopher.
Thank you. I'm not always amazing, but thank you.
Thank you for letting me call you, and I hope to talk to you guys again soon, and have a great night.
You as well, Chris.
You too, Christopher.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Well, that was pretty cool. Spot
that was cool. Yep.
Okay, so looking here in the chat room.
What is the number again? Because there's the number in the. Can you put the number to call in the chat room?
Okay, yeah, again? I just did, but I'll do it once more. And the phone number is 1-970-335-9596 if anyone would like to call in for a free reading to Skype here with Corrine. It'd be awesome if you did.
Thanks, Tessa.
Oh, we have a call coming in. And this is a 360 area code. Who are we speaking with?
Oh, gosh, you can pick me out fast. This is Yvonne.
Hey, Yvonne. Aloha.
Hi.
How are you?
Hi, Yvonne.
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. It was kind of like a lazy day today because it was too hot outside.
Oh, it sure was.
Tell me about it.
You know. Yeah. I mean, I'm originally from Hawaii, and everybody thinks that, it's a really hot place, but no, it's not. You know what I mean? But here in Washington today, it was pretty warm.
Yes.
But, yeah. So, let's see. Well, I think I should get into my question so I don't take up too much time.
Okay.
Okay. Well, this might sound like a little weird, but I had this experience with two of my family members that had passed over, and they were looking for each other though because they couldn't find each other, and then I was subjected to an experience that one of them had experienced that caused them to be separated in life.
Okay. Yeah.
And so once I went through the experience, then we found each other. Have you ever heard of that before?
Yes, I have heard of something like that, Yvonne. I have heard of something like that. And it's really amazing how much we have to do with the other side, and the other side has to do with our lives here. you know?
Oh, you're coming across quite choppy.
Sorry, there's like a wind sound going on. I'm not sure.
Yeah, if anyone is waiting to get on for the next call, could you please mute your phone so the wind's not coming through? Thank you.
So was one of these people your uncle, Yvonne?
No, these were both females. Again, I'm sorry to bring it up again. It was my paternal grandmother and my grandmother. And the experience I had to go through, I guess I'll have to say this. My great-grandmother paternal grandmother was raped. She conceived my grandmother. Upon the birth of the child was raised by another female.
Okay. Yeah.
And so, you know what, I went through that experience, and I'm just wondering, God, is that what really happened? Because nobody knows that in the family.
Right. Right.
But I had to go through the rape in order to, because that's the kind of like, I felt like that's a task I've been given to bring this into the light.
Right. So, but you were designated to do that, and you understand that was important, right?
Well, yeah, but and that, you know, and the thing about it is that my grandmother, I think, was raised by either her aunt or my great-grandmother's sister. So, and this is real sketchy because there's only one more survivor left, and all this information was withheld from her.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing.
And so this happened in 2006, but every couple of, you know, I get hits, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like I've been given the task of putting it together, because you see, she was raped by two uncles.
Okay. Yeah.
And so it's like, my family, our particular family, we have kept the female maiden name of Kaluuya. Because my paternal great-grandfather was adopted by the Kaluuyas. He wasn't a Kaluuya. And so it's kind of like my family line kind of carries like an extra dose, so to speak, of the Kaluuya genetics.
Right. Right.
You know, and it's led to some, you know, some good things is the fact that, you know, there's many of us that are gifted. On the other hand, it brings on a generation of addictions that I see need to be broken.
Yes. Yes. I was going to say something to you, although I don't like to say negative things to people on air, but I was going to say addiction has something to do with it. Yeah.
You know, because I feel like it's all interconnected, you know. But the patterns of addiction is being broken, which is really good news.
Oh, indeed. Excellent. Yeah, excellent.
You know. But I just wanted to, you know, like get confirmation, I guess, you know, in terms of, Christ, am I making this all up in my head? I mean, you know what I mean? Because it's like nobody else in the family knows this.
Right, right. And, you know, people are in denial, like Tessa said earlier. People want to stay in denial, and that's okay. Let them stay in denial. You know the truth, you know?
Right. Well, it's the younger ones, you know, that only certain of the, you know, of my brothers and sisters that I can share it with because I feel they could handle it. But for the others, no, I have not shared it because it's like, you know what I mean? It's kind of like bringing up like a whole nest of worms, so to speak, and to realize, you know, that is in actuality the beginning of our ancestral line.
Right. I hear you.
So anyway, but I just needed to kind of get confirmation on this. You know what I mean? Because I keep getting, you know, information, so to speak. And I suspect it's my paternal great-grandmother, or I don't know, it could be my grandmother, you know, who was wanting me to come to this understanding. Because when I visited with my grandmother, I always sensed such a sadness in her.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, Yvonne, I think that you are getting true information, and I think it is for the purpose of you trying to change things while you're here, which you are doing. So don't Don't discount what happened to you. Don't think that you're a
No. You know, it's just that I have so many gifts, you know what I mean, sometimes, and then, like, I've had them since I was 3.5 years old. And so, you know, for a long time, and, you know, I always thought, well, this is everybody's reality, until, of course, I got older, and then I kind of shut down. You know, but after I went to that family reunion, holy Moses, you know, everything opened up, you know, and especially the history of the family. And it's a very, you know, and so now I understand, like, many of the things that the younger ones are going through and why it's happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Indeed.
And it is, and I do, you know, work with them, and some of them, thank God, are on their path of healing.
Yeah.
You know, so, and I feel like that's what makes, sorry?
You are helping that path of healing, Yvonne. You are helping that.
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you so much, because this has been eating at me since 2006. I mean, you know, putting this all together, so to speak.
Yeah, and it's hard to trust what we get, you guys. I mean, this always happens. It's like we get messages, but we're like, oh, could that be? No, I got to dismiss it. I'm just crazy. No, you get these messages, you know, over and over.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? So it matters, Yvonne. It matters what you're doing now, and it matters what happened to you in the first place with your grandmother and your great-grandmother. This means something, you know?
Yeah. Well, because because we only have one other survivor left, and she could not tell me the whole story. All she knew was that she, you know, and she doesn't even know our great-grandmother's name. You know, and that's such a loss. I don't know if, you know, she was a Kaluya or a Faranda.
Well, Yvonne, thank you so much for
more research there.
Thank you so much
for calling in, and I hope this gave you a bit more clarity, because it is hard to take those messages that we get on our own and not think we're trying to misguide ourselves or whatnot. But I hope that helps.
Okay. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye, Yvonne.
Bye, Yvonne.
Next, we have a question from the chat room, and it's from Caden, and he's asking, is my daughter still around me? Does she still plan on coming back when we try for another baby?
Okay. Caden, yes. And you will know, Caden, one day somewhere, not here necessarily, but you will know why she had to leave. And she's trying to facilitate this for you right now. She's trying to facilitate a pregnancy right now. She says something about, wait, hold on. A boy, though. It's going to be a boy. I'm not sure if this makes sense or if you even know about this, but something about a boy. And I get a name like Andrew. I'm not sure where that's coming from. Caden. Yeah. Also something to do with gemstones. I'm not sure what the hell that is, if you can clarify. Something to do with gemstones, or I don't know if no, or Brother Ash, I don't know. No, it's like a boy. You're going to have a boy, is what I think she's say. But what's with the gemstones? Something about gemstones. Like, I don't know what that has to do with anything, but that's just what came to my mind. I'm not sure. Maybe, I can't imagine she's saying incorporate those with your trying to get pregnant, but I'm not sure. Asher, okay, we just had to get him crystals. Okay, thank you. Yeah, there's no doubt you're going to have another child. But I think it's going to be a boy. So you got to let me know what happens.
Nice.
That's a nice name, Asher. That's so cool. I bet he's highly gifted. I bet he is. That's so cool.
All right, so our next phone call, I have two numbers here. An unknown number. Who are we speaking to? No one? How about area code 630?
Oh, that's me. Sorry about that. Before I didn't know that you went when you dialed. You went straight into the call. Corrine, it's Amy, and earlier you mentioned the name Bill, and I have a bill that recently passed. So if you had something, I just wanted to call in and see what it was.
Hi, Amy. Amy, so when I see Bill, when Bill came to me, he looks like, I'll try to describe him. He's got facial hair, and he kind of, like, all right, I'm just going to say it. If you had, like, a maintenance guy in your building, that's what he would look like.
Right, exactly.
Wow. Really? Okay. So, but he's, like, he's happy. He's like, you know, yeah, here I am. You know what I mean? I might look like a homeless guy, but I'm.
Yeah, he had a colorful life.
Mhm. So,
he was, a ferry boat captain. He was a cocaine dealer. He was like a Jimmy Buffett song. So it doesn't surprise me that he looks like that.
Yeah. So also, was there something about his teeth that was weird? Do you remember? Because when I asked him to show me, like, he's smiling, but there's something about a tooth in the front or something that's weird. I don't know if it was missing or it was. Do you remember anything about his teeth?
No, but that would make sense. From what I heard, I hadn't seen him in a good number. I hadn't seen him in a good number of years, and I talked to him, I don't know, maybe like 5 years ago. But that would make sense. That it's, you know, he's, like I said, like Jimmy Buffett. So, like a Jimmy Buffett. I don't think that that was
right.
But anyway, but that wouldn't be anything that was recognizable.
Yeah. Okay. So was he kind of on the shorter side rather than tall?
No. No, he was on the tall side rather than short.
Okay. This guy seems short, but I guess I'm wrong.
Well, maybe he's not. Maybe he's not for me. Yeah.
I know, but he looks like what I described, right?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. He's also pushing water aside. Like something to do with water. Like, okay, so say you're in a boat that's filling with water. He's pushing the water out of the boat. I don't know why that is. Something to do with water. Shit. I'm sorry, I'm
Well, like I said, it's a circle, lifeguard, and all of those water things. So, but I don't know. There's water in heaven.
Well, I don't think I think it's just a symbol for something like water on the boat, like bailing water out of a sinking ship kind of thing. Maybe.
Yeah, well, he was sort of a sinking ship of sorts. But
yeah. I'm just going to ask one more question. I hate asking questions because I don't want to lead, people into telling me what is going on. But was he French?
Well, but he wasn't from France.
No,
I don't think he was French. He wasn't. I don't think he was French. I don't think he was French.
Okay, so his last name wasn't French.
No.
Okay, I'm not sure what it is, but I see the Frenchman strolling away on a gondola type thing. I'm not sure what that means. And also, I'm going to say Kathy. I don't know who Kathy was in conjunction with him, but I get the name Kathy, and I don't know if it's for the guy who's asking about his wife here, which I want to answer. But I mean, I get the name Kathy, and I'm not sure if that had something to do with him or not, if you know.
Not that I can think of.
Okay. Bill. Bill. Yeah, he's just like a free freaking spirit, man,
Yeah, I'm sure he's having a great time because he was sick, and that probably wasn't very fun. And I think he was, scared. I think he was scared to die because it took a little longer than I thought it took a little longer. And I thought it was. Remember I told you that story about Keith came to me in a dream and he was like, he had those pimp shoes on and he's like, and I asked him why he had those shoes on and he goes, I don't have time for this stupid question. We used to also call him Barnacle. Just coming,
okay.
Stuff ready. And then it was like a whole other, and then I thought he died because I felt like a spirit like grabbed my butt at the grocery store. But, I was like, oh, he must die.
So if you called him Barnacle Bill, doesn't it make sense that he would be showing me pulling water out of a boat?
Well, yeah, water is an integral part of our life. Water is an integral part of our life. So yes, that makes sense. Yeah, I wasn't saying that wasn't. I didn't mean it didn't make sense. Even though it probably sounded like it did. No, I mean water was an integral part. Water was an integral part of our life.
Right.
Whatever. Until I moved wherever I am, water was my life. So yes, everything. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, I think he just maybe popped in just because I know when it was interesting because first I had the dream. Then when he actually died, this friend of mine who was like better friends with him, like more recent ongoing friends with him, she woke up out of a dead sleep right at the time that he died, as did John Young. So anyway, that's probably, I mean, I'm not looking for some great message. You just mentioned it, and I figured I would take ownership of it.
Yeah,
but it makes sense. It makes sense. It makes sense that the water part makes sense, and I'm sure he's happy as a clam.
He's fine. Well, I mean, this guy's fine. Whoever I'm seeing in my mind, he's fine.
Right.
They're all fine.
Right, they're all fine. They're all fine. Even the ones that are right.
Well, thank
Just
you
like
so
we're all
much
fine.
for calling in,
Thanks
Amy.
a million. Thanks.
Thanks, Amy.
Bye.
Have a good evening. All right, so we got to get to Daniel's question here. And he was asking about his recently deceased wife. And does she have anything to say to him, or is she okay?
Right. And if you can answer in chat, does Kathy make sense to you at all, the name Kathy? Or Catherine? Does that make sense in conjunction with your wife?
And there is a slight delay between us and the chat room, so hopefully Daniel will respond shortly.
Okay. Also, let me. I've been like trying to focus on Daniel since I read the question. I also, and the number 5. No. Okay. The number 5 for some reason. 5, 13. I don't know what that has to do with her. And I'm not saying, Daniel, I can connect with your wife, but I'm trying. Not at all. Okay, thank you. Okay. So also what I thought of is that she had cancer, and that's how she died. I don't know if that's true. And I can see her kind of, did she have lighter colored hair? I'm trying to get her in my mind. It's like she had lighter colored hair that wasn't long, but it wasn't wicked short either. Murdered. Oh no, Daniel. Oh shoot. Jesus. I'm so sorry. Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah, it's truly terrible.
That is awful. That is freaking awful. Shoot. You know, I mean, I can refer him to somebody that could definitely talk to her. That's what I'll say right now, because, you know, I'm not the greatest psychic medium there is out there, but I know the greatest psychic mediums out there. So it is worth it, Daniel, for you to contact this woman, because she can get you answers, man. You know, she can get you answers about probably who murdered her and the rest of it. And I am so sorry that you have to go through this. This is horrible. It's horrible. Oh.
And I'm wondering, like, how long ago that happened. Because like we were talking about before, sometimes they do have to have that little bit of break time or away time to do whatever we have to take care of on the other side. And perhaps she's not back from that yet.
Right. Right. And I wonder how long ago it happened, if Daniel would tell us, you know. Oh my God, 1 month ago, Tessa.
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh my God, Daniel. Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
From what Paris is saying, he wanted to see her, but they wouldn't let him, and they prevented him from seeing her, you know. So that makes it even harder, because, you know, it kind of puts a damper on moving forward and towards healing and such. And it's so traumatic, especially when someone's just taken away from you so senselessly, you know, whether by their own hand or another.
Right. I mean, it's just incredibly freaking difficult. I mean, I can't even put into words how difficult that is. I mean, Jesus, you know. Hopefully we're never going to experience that, but for Daniel to experience it and still be like, you know, he can get answers, though. I'm telling you, Daniel, you can get answers. And should I tell him who to contact now, or should I private message him? I'm not sure what to do.
If you'd like, you can. I mean, I have no problem with that.
Okay, so I've got two, what I consider my top mediums. One is psychic medium Renee Richards. That's psychicmediumreneerichards.com. Also, a modern day mystic altogether, www.amoderndayMystic.com. That's Myrna. Now, I have no doubt that Daniel will get answers from this and get the resolution and healing he needs. And I promise you, if you don't, I'll give you your money back. You know what I mean? Wait a minute. What is gastrous gangrene? I don't understand. I wish you would have called in so I could find out the information, but he's saying something. So maybe he's saying she was murdered by the doctors.
Yeah, and that happens all too often.
It does. It does. They don't, you know what I mean? They don't pay attention. They're busy. They're crowded. They drop the ball many times, unfortunately.
Yeah, I've had that experience with my Uncle Rex, who I call my Uncle Daddy because he helped to raise me and my little brother after my mom had died, and my dad basically abandoned us. But they basically overdosed him with fentanyl because he wouldn't jump through the hoops that they wanted. And you know, they do that all the time, or whether it's neglect and not taking care of the issue, which happened with my dad. I mean, it's really disgusting what is allowed to go on in these facilities, and not saying that all of them are bad, but a lot of them are.
They are.
Yeah,
I have people die needlessly a few times, let's put it that way. And it's disgusting, really, you know?
Yeah, it's really sad. And we're coming up on the end of our hour here in a couple minutes. Did you want to share, let's say, any of your insights or websites or anywhere else that people can find you?
Yeah, I mean, you guys can contact me at CorrineDeWinter.com. I'm on Facebook under Corrine DeWinter. You can find me there. And if you need help with anything, let me know. I will do my best, my very best to help you. And that's why I'm here. So I hope you guys reach out. I hope we can be friends. I love everyone in the chat here. I've been here many times. You guys are freaking awesome. You know what I mean? So thank you for being here tonight. I so much appreciate it. And thank you, Tessa.
Thank you, Corrine, for coming on. I mean, it's always great to have you, and you always have such wonderful insight and information. And, when I had first met you, it was on one of your playbacks, and I was listening in on that, and you had actually come into the chat room, and you gave me a reading, and it was like the first really amazing reading that I had ever had. And so yeah, it was so amazing to have you on, and I'm so grateful that you came out and hung in there for that third hour with us.
Oh yeah, definitely. Anytime, sister, anytime.
And I wanted to say thank you so much to all of our Space Cases, Spaced Out Radio, Facebook, Spreaker, Twitter, Paranormal Radio, TalkStream Live, Deep Talk Radio, and wherever else you may be listening in the universe tonight. I had a wonderful time this evening, and it was my pleasure, literally and figuratively. I can't wait to do it again next Sunday on Psychic Sundays on spacedoutradio.com. Until next time, nighty-night and love and light to all my space cases out there. Don't forget, we're all in this together. Together we can make the world a little better, and together, my friends, we own the night. You guys have an amazing and wonderful week, and I will see you guys back here next weekend. Good night, guys. Have a great evening.
ships into the rocks, and from the cliffs they watch us sink down in our thorny crowns. These beggars dressed as emperors, offering you 7 wonders, promising the deepest thunder. We'll tell you you're the perfect girl, we'll crawl for miles through the sand to win your hand and be your man. I try to act so cool, but you know I'm just a fool for you.